Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
John. Thanks, John. I have a question for you, everybody. What in the hell are Governor General Mary Simon and her friends eating and drinking these days? Because I gotta tell you, gang, whatever it is, it's breathtakingly expensive. Get this. On a recent trip to the Middle East, don't ask me why, but they went to the Middle East. Miss Mary Simon, our Governor General, and 29 of her fart catchers rang up a bill of almost $100,000 for, wait for it, $100,000 for in-flight catering aboard the RCAF planes hauling their sorry asses to Dubai. Do the math. 30 people, $100,000. Hey, that's more than $3,000 per person. Almost $3,500 per person, as a matter of fact, for food and booze during the flights. Now, John, you've done some additional math on this. Figured out how much that is per person per meal.
So there were 8 flights in total, 4 there and 4 back. Okay. So that works out to $310 per person per meal per flight.
That's a hell of a lot of peanuts.
Well, they're free on any flight I've ever been on.
I don't know why I'm laughing. This is taxpayers' money. Those greedy little bastards, eh? I mean, it's just so typical of the elitists in this bubble city of ours. It's taxpayers' money. Doesn't matter. It's not real money. $100,000 for, actually it was Debbie who suggested, she says the taxpayers, and I agree with her, deserve to have a complete breakdown. Exactly what the hell did that $100,000 buy? I mean, are we paying for $1,000 a bottle glasses of wine? I mean, there's something. It's $350. You say it works out to about $300.
That's about $300. Call it 300. I think it's like $313. Call it $310, just for the sake of argument.
Per meal.
Per meal, per flight. Because if you're going to take 4 flights to Dubai, you got to eat on each flight, of course.
I mean, I don't. And by the way, that's only just the tip of the iceberg, because the fuel to carry this band of brigands cost us taxpayer almost $250,000. So for this little joyous trip to Dubai, apparently they went to something called Dubai Expo 2020. Only a couple of years late. But anyway, aside from everything else, why are we sending 30 people, the Governor General, and as I say, 29 of her, I don't know, I call them fart catchers, people who've got absolutely nothing to do but fawn over the Governor General or whatever they do. Pick up make sure she's got enough toilet paper. I don't know what it is. But why are we, to begin with, why are we sending 30 people at taxpayers' expense to Dubai? What possible benefits could there be? What possible benefits could there be for you or me, for the average tax-paying poor bugger Canadian, to have 30 people from the Governor General's office and her friends and buddies in Dubai? What possible benefits could there be? Was there a trade deal? No. Were there sort of hands across the border, make up friends? No. Oh, what? Why? I mean, it just, what? What it is, why they went? Because they could. Because it's Mary Simon. Because it's the Governor General. And we work and hang around Rideau Hall, so we can do bloody well whatever we want because you poor bugger taxpayer, you're paying for it. And if you don't like it, screw you. There's nothing you can do because I'm Mary Simon and you're not. I'm sorry to be so hard, but I mean, I'm just fed up. I don't know about you folks. I'm fed up. I told you the other day we were going to order some steaks for a little party here.
Someone just brought that up, actually.
It was almost $200 for 6 steaks. And so we decided we're not going to have so we had ribs, cost us about $30 instead. So we're just an ordinary family. We can't afford steaks, but somehow or other, Mary Simon and her fart catchers, they can afford apparently $350 meals, complete with wine. I don't know. Maybe some of them drink really, 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 really expensive single malt scotch. I don't know what it is, but that's a hell of a lot. Now, when I'm talking about this and grinding this out, I'm thinking of poor old Bev Oda. Remember Bev Oda, John? You remember Bev Oda?
Do. I know where you're going here.
So, former cabinet minister in Stephen Harper's government, the dreaded Stephen Harper government. So she's over in London, staying in a nice hotel. She has a glass of orange juice. It was a big glass, and it was in crystal glass, but it was $16. That was the end of her career. Bev Oda spends $16 of taxpayers' money on a glass of orange juice, and she's got to resign. We've got our Governor General and 29 of her, whatever the hell they are, $100,000 on booze and food in flight. We're don't forget, we talk about the tip of the iceberg. $250,000 for the fuel in all of those flights, $100,000 in-flight meals. That doesn't cover the hotels. It doesn't cover the meals in the hotel. Hey, listen, if they're ringing up $350, $313 meals in an airplane, can you imagine the kind of meals they're ringing up in hotels in Dubai?
Oh God!
I mean, we'll, you know what? And the other thing, we'll never find out exactly how much they paid. You know why? Because you're just an ordinary taxpayer. You don't count. I'm Mary Simon. I'm the Governor General, and you're not. By the way, this is not the first time. I mean, this Mary Simon has obviously got some very expensive taste. She's well practiced in ringing up heavy bills aboard planes. On March 31st, Mary Simon and her husband take a flight from Ottawa to Toronto. This is an hour's flight, slightly less than an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
They ring up food and booze, $400 on a flight from Ottawa to Toronto.
How?
I don't know. I mean, I honest to God, I don't know. $400.
I can drink with the best of them, Lowell. I can't do $400 in booze between
like
here.
What are your Pink Whitneys? What the hell is a Pink Whitney, by the way? This is your drink of choice, right?
Oh man,
your go-to drink.
So it's a drink created by Ryan Whitney, former NHL player. It's vodka and pink lemonade, basically. It's pure sugar and pure alcohol, and it's heaven. But again, that's 30.
What would one of them cost? What would one of them cost?
$38 a bottle.
Well, how many glasses do you get in a bottle?
The way I drink it, or the way you're supposed to drink it. I mean, let's say conservatively 8. 8,
sure, $35. So that's the Milky recipe. Okay, all right. Oh God. So what do you think, folks? By the way, can I ask you this? You ever get that kind of food aboard Air Canada?
No.
How about WestJet? Porter? Is Porter serving up $350 meals?
Listen, I've got an idea for the Governor General. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, I went to Peterborough, and I'm going back on next Friday.
At a drag something or other.
Yeah, drag bingo, which we produce the show, do the audio and the lights for that.
Bingo.
Yeah. But we stay at the Quality Inn, Lowell. It comes with a free breakfast. Might I suggest our Governor General? Start travel. It's good enough for John Milkey. It's good enough for Mary Simon, the most pissed off puss face I've ever seen in my life. Does she not look like the angriest person ever? Despite her $3,000 meals.
Tell us about the Quality and breakfast. Not the greatest?
You will never want breakfast again after that. There's a reason it's free.
The worst meal, Debbie and I, a number of years ago, had a wonderful trip, one of the finest trips we've ever taken. We drove from Vancouver to Ottawa. Tiny little car, could hardly make it over the mountain, but we did. We stayed in, obviously, motels and hotels, some of which in Northern Ontario leave a little bit to desire. I mean, as a matter of fact, I remember remarking that Northern Ontario, hotels and motels, is where old furniture goes to die. But
yes.
Anyway, we stopped at and the hotel wasn't bad. I think it was in Edmonton, and we had breakfast there. I ordered pancakes and sausage. It's the first time in history that the pancakes were inedible. You could not. How can you screw up the making of pancakes?
Oh, the Quality Inn in Peterborough can. I assure you.
What do you put on the pancake that makes it? You can't eat a pancake. It's flour and milk and water. I mean, I don't know, but we couldn't eat them. We couldn't eat them. And I asked the waitress was quite put out. I said, "You can't eat that. You can't. These are pancakes. You can't eat." Other than that, obviously, Mary Simon. So you're suggesting that if the next time Mary Simon travels, she should go
try the Quality Inn.
Yeah, Air Canada on a pretzel special. I think Air Canada even charges you for pretzels now, right?
Probably.
I remember one time Debbie and I were taking a flight from Ottawa to Los Angeles, and Air Canada ran out of food. This is what, 6-7 hour flight, no food. But what they had was those Pringles, the big box of Pringles, and I was starving. I bought 3 big things of Pringles, and I had 3 big containers of Pringles. And it cost me, I think it was $4 each, $12 for 3 things of Pringles on Air Canada. And next time, you know what? Next time I'm flying RCAF, I'm going to ask for one of those $350 meals.
Hey, I'm convinced our last Governor General, Julie Payette, I'm sure none of her meals on the International Space Station cost that much money. Anyway, we got a call. Your buddy Simon is on the line.
Oh, great. Simon, what do you think of this, sir? What's on your mind here?
So does the Governor General is her salary publicly available? I'm assuming she would make money as a Governor General.
Oh, sure. She's extremely well paid. Not only that, but the Governor Generals, they continue to get salary for the rest of their life. Am I not correct on that, John? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The salary, Simon, to answer your question, is $288,900 annually. That is her salary. That does not include all of the extras that she would be given as well: housing, flights, meals.
Well, perhaps that wouldn't cover a trip to Dubai. I don't know if maybe cut a little bit off of the drink tab there. But essentially, the point being, it's unbelievable the amount of Trudeau is so. Like, why isn't he trying to spend that $100,000 on his precious green energy projects? You could probably pay the salary of the men who are going to be manning that third boat patrolling the St. Lawrence. I mean, there's a lot better ways you can spend that money.
Well, yeah. Now, so there's 30 people. This is the Governor General and 29 of her best friends, I guess. So they're off. So it's $100,000 for in-flight meals, $250,000 for the fuel. They would have to pay the pilots, but I guess they get paid anyway. And then there's 8 days of hotels and meals when they're in Dubai, etc. This
probably close to $500,000.
Oh, more than that. I suggest to you that the whole bill probably is in addition to $1 million.
Sure.
For what?
Unbelievable.
The Queen, God bless her. I love the Queen. I'd love to give her a big hug. This is a woman who had served her country, her Commonwealth exceedingly well. Just a wonderful, wonderful person. But if this is the best we can do for her representation in this country, give the Queen a hug, but give the Governor General a boot in the arse out of the job. That's what my feeling.
It is that. Can I bring up? Sorry, I just want to bring up one other point. It's on Russia, Ukraine. I don't know if that's okay.
You go right ahead.
I saw a news story today. It was in several American newspapers. Apparently, Russia has racked in over $93 billion worth of revenue from their oil and gas industry. So where are all the leaders who are saying they're no longer buying oil and gas from Russia? How come they're still be able to rake in so much money?
Well, they're selling it. They're selling it to China. So China is buying, but no, Germany. Most of the European countries are still buying the oil and I guess natural gas because they don't have another source for it. They've got to have the oil and gas. And I've said 100 times, if we'd built Energy East, we would have been able to provide natural oil and gas, and natural gas and oil to Europe. We would have been able to provide it. But the environmentalists, including Justin Trudeau,
I was just going to say, as far as I'm concerned, the green energy projects that we're investing in here, they're contributing to the destruction of entire nations. It's
absolutely.
And yet we're going to spend $1 million sending some lady representing the Queen off to friggin' to have a party. It's ludicrous. Absolutely.
How times change. There's poor Bev Oda in London, probably the most expensive city in the world. She orders a glass of orange juice, $16, and that's it. Her career is over. $16, and the media just murdered her. They just tore her from stem to stern. And do you think the media will go after our Governor General or any of those other public servants that flew over there?
Oh, they lose their funding. Come on, they're going to lose their funding.
By the way, talking about wind and solar and the green energy, you'll be pleased to know right now, folks, yesterday...
Oh, let me take a guess.
Go ahead.
Wind is providing, I'm going to say, a solid 8%. Solar providing 2.5%.
Oh, you're overestimating here. Right now, at 1, hang on, Simon. At 1 o'clock, we were burning in Ontario 17,574 megawatts of power. Wind was providing 645, solar 236. In total, wind and solar at 1 o'clock today was providing 4.92% of our needs. For this, we have poured out $8 to $10 billion freaking dollars. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Got to get a word in here for Shields. Got some good savings at Shields. We're talking about money here. I don't think anybody at Shields has ever had a $350 meal. In the Valley, they don't have $350 meals. And if they did, they would share it with the entire Valley, believe me. But the point I'm trying to make here is that if money is really that tight, you got to have a new appliance. Shields, at least give Shields a chance, okay? At least check them out. You will see the prices. You'll see all of the makes and models, etc., on the website. Very competitive. Some great sales underway, particularly if you buy more than one appliance. Shields will give you a great deal. And for the most part, they're in stock, so no long wait. Shields.ca. SCHEELS.ca. At least, you know what, folks? They're local. They're family. They're good. Highly reputable. They've got all the product. The prices are very competitive. Why would you not give them a chance at your business? John, what else have we got here?
Upshoot Cayman, watching on YouTube, says, how can this government say we need to fight climate change when the Liberals are always limousining, I see is the word, limousining and jetting all over the world? You'll forgive me, limousining is not a term I'm familiar with, being a commoner.
Probably not a term that he has spelled that often before.
I love it. Terry says, where would the Governor General fly for a Klondike bar? Okay, we're having fun with this now. Anne says, the Governor General is living the high life. All the previous Governor Generals enjoyed the high life too. Coraline says, and Bev Oda got fired for a $16 glass of orange juice. There you go. Kelly says, it is entitlement and it is greed. Peter says, Trudeau should ask her to resign, but considering what Trudeau spends on his flights, it's pretty much the same. But if you're Bev Oda, $16 was too much for juice, but that's a conservative versus Trudeau liberal. And if you're a Trudeau liberal, anything is allowed. It's disgusting.
I'm glad you mentioned that. This, I still have people say when I talk about the liberal bias, etc., how Trudeau and the liberals can get away with almost anything. Some people still say, "Oh, I don't buy that." But here's an example. This actually happened. Bev Oda, cabinet minister, at least at the time, a former cabinet minister in Stephen Harper's government. Very, very good woman, very nice woman. She went to London on business. She was there for, on behalf of the taxpayers for a trade deal. Stays at a London hotel, which are very expensive, and orders a glass of orange juice, which she finds out after costs $16. The media destroyed her. It was headline news. And she had to resign. So Bev Oda, conservative, is forced to resign over a $16 glass of orange juice. And we've got our governor general appointed by our prime minister and 29 of her closest friends, $100,000 on in-flight meals alone. No problem. Pas de problème. Tabarnak. Go ahead, John.
Lynn says those wind turbines, and she spells it W-Y-N-N-E. That's brilliant. Those wind turbines always turn at the same speed, no matter the speed of the wind, and some don't turn at all. Different ones each day. Kelly says, once you get into the upper government level, your sense of common sense goes up in smoke. They don't care. It's not their money.
It's not just common sense. It's the sense of entitlement. I'm entitled to my entitlements. And obviously, they feel that there is no limit to the entitlements. I mean, if I'm for some reason, I'm in that airplane and I'm at the taxpayer's expense flying to Dubai, the nice holiday, thank you, taxpayers. I would have a sense of shame if I knew that my meals were costing about $350 per meal. I would have a sense of shame. And when I got home, I would feel ashamed. Obviously, this group, there's no shame whatsoever. I'm entitled to it. And screw you, taxpayers. Just keep forking over the tax dollars, okay? Go ahead, John.
How long till we find out what it cost to send her back and forth from the Royal Jubilee a few weeks ago as well?
Oh, God. God knows.
Sure, that's a bombshell and a half.
But you know what? It's typical. She's not the only one. I mean, Trudeau and his cabinet ministers, how many people did they take to the Paris Accord or whatever the hell it was?
60, wasn't it?
It was like about 4 times as many as the Americans took.
Yeah.
And we've got to pay, don't forget, all of not only the in-flight meals, but the meals there, the hotels, and so forth and so on. It's just this sense of entitlement. While the rest of us, as I say, can't afford steaks out there, they're ordering $350 meals. Go ahead, John.
A retired governor general says Carl is entitled to claim up to $206,000 a year for life and even 6 months after to cover expenses incurred as a result of ongoing responsibilities related to his or her former office. There clearly seems to be a difference, says Anne, between whether an outrageous example of irresponsible overspending occurs with a liberal or a conservative with our mainstream media. Disgustingly unfair. Andrew says, keep the MPs accountable. Eileen says, this is beyond ridiculous. When I heard this, what was that trip for? She asks.
Very, very good point. There was something called Dubai, Expo Dubai 2020. Apparently it was, a Middle East version of Expo. It was supposed to have been held in 2020, but I guess because of the pandemic, it's 2 years late. But why are we paying anybody to go to something like that? If you want to go to Dubai 2020, go right ahead. Take an Air Canada flight and eat pretzels. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, and how much of that comes back to us in tourism dollars, etc.?
Oh, nothing.
All right. At $350 a meal, says Ray, I will lick the plate as well. Here's the comment from earlier that I referenced. Peter says, poor Lowell couldn't see his way to have some steak the other day. Perhaps Lowell should be governor general. All right.
Kiss me ours. Kiss me ours. I mentioned this because this is typical. If we can't afford steak, neither can most people. I'm very glad whoever wrote that, I'm very glad you can afford it. Very clearly, you got a government index pension.
He's on your side. He says.
Oh, he's on my side?
He says, poor Lowell couldn't see his way to have some steak the other day. Perhaps Lowell should be governor general. He would like to get you some steaks and some decent meals. That's how I interpret that.
Okay, I thought he was being facetious.
No.
I take it all back. You're a sweetheart. Okay, hug and kiss. Hug and kiss. Go ahead.
Joshua says, waste by liberals? I am shocked.
Oh,
that is
absolutely
dripping with sarcasm. Donald says everyone in the government should show full breakdown on what they spend our money on.
There's something, not only that, but isn't Mary Simon Aboriginal?
Yes.
So here is Mary Simon, Aboriginal, in a very privileged position, involved in $350 meals, while people she is supposed to be representing back on native reserves can't get clean drinking water. Think of that. Think of that. If you have no sympathy for ordinary working people, how about that? Mary Simon, $350 meals in airplanes, while people back on the reserve can't have clean drinking water. If nothing else bugs you, maybe that'll get to you. Go ahead.
How soon we forget, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Peter says, note, she was a former member of the Trudeau Foundation as well. She should have to pay all of that back to the taxpayer.
I agree. I think her ass should be kicked out of there. In fact, if this is the best we can do, I think we should just abandon the whole governor, the monarchy. When the Queen is gone, maybe the monarchy should be gone too.
Oh, we had that conversation on a previous show as well, didn't we, about that?
Yeah.
Didn't get much response, but yeah, I think it's a conversation.
I've always been a monarchist. I always believed that it was a very valuable institution. But I mean, the last two governor generals we've had have just been just awful. Go ahead, John.
Kelly says they should have a cap on the budget for these things. It is not a free-for-all. All right, Coraline says our military gets a box lunch on their flights. Why can't our overpaid politicians and bureaucrats get the same?
That's a very good point. What's wrong with a good old chicken sandwich? Make it if you want something to eat while you're in the plane. You've got about 150 staff members, including probably about 412 chefs at Rita Hall. Have them make up some chopped egg sandwiches for you, for God's sake. Go ahead, John.
Norma says not all governor generals have been bad. David Johnson, for example, was a great.
Yeah, there have been some really good ones. No question about it.
Yep. Hope we will be allowed one day to open up the U.S. markets for seal products, etc., so we can send seal flippers for Lowell's next gathering, says Kirk. Okay. No accountability, says Andrew. Carl says, when I hear about stuff like this, I feel like a poor peasant slave sold into servitude to support this goddamn liberal government.
I couldn't agree more.
Christine says, I find myself in the awkward position of actually agreeing with Lowell. $300 a meal is a waste of taxpayers' money. Of course, she took that back once she heard you talking about green energy. But anyway, for a moment there, you had her, Lowell, for a moment.
Well, wait a minute. Green energy. Okay, you tell me that we get good value, $8 to $10 billion, and today we've got 4.92% of energy coming from wind and solar. Is that a good investment? Now, I know you're a liberal or an NDP, and you have a little difficulty with mathematics, but it would seem to me a grade 2 student, junior kindergarten could figure out that spending $8 to $10 billion and getting less than 5% is not a good deal. Go ahead, please.
Valda says, holy dying dog crap. Why are we footing this for 30 people? There was no purpose for this trip.
I couldn't agree more.
Holy dying dog crap. Maybe my favorite line ever.
Oh.
Story, Lowell. Anne says, we must be stupid because we keep electing and appointing these weasels. Carrie says, I thought the Governor General was the Queen's representative in Canada. Why is she going out of the country?
I'm asking the same question. No, it was a nice little holiday, that's all. She got to take 29 of her friends. Beautiful.
But Lowell, says Glenn, dipping again with sarcasm, but Lowell, she's learning to speak French. Friend says, the entitled know no bounds. They do as they please, and to hell with Canadians who are paying for all they do. It's almost like they have a total disconnect from where the money comes from, and they can do as they please.
By the way, I just want you to know, pay your taxes. Be a good Canadian. Don't complain. Vote Liberal or NDP. It's all the same these days. And don't complain. As a matter of fact, here's what I suggest, okay? If you're pleased with what's going on, I would send a little bonus in. Not only would you pay 52% of your salary in taxes, but send another 10%. You can have it, you can pay some of mine if you want. Thank you all, folks. We'll be back tomorrow.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green Podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green Podcast. This is a production of BlastTheRadio.com.